So I do a lot of side hustles. I build a lot of apps and create a lot of websites. But the second that a project needs a 3D asset, I am stuck because I am not an artist of any kind, but definitely not a 3D artist. And, you know, there's Blender and there's different tools, but I don't have time to learn those. That's not my skill set. So usually my apps and websites, they lack what we'll call it graphical sophistication. But yeah, I don't use a lot of 3D stuff. So as I do with most of the problems that I have, I think, well, surely there is an AI solution for this now. So my lack of 3D ability, surely AI can compensate for that. So the tool we're going to be looking at today is called Neural 4D. And I'm going to show you the good, the bad. It's an AI 3D generator. So you give it text or an image and it spits out a real exportable 3D model. So let me show you how this works and what I've been doing with it. First, we'll do the text to 3D here. For this one, you just type exactly what you want. So I had typed in a low poly 3D rocket ship. And again, I love AI because you can misspell things. It knows what you mean. But this is all that I said. I just want a low poly 3D rocket ship. And we'll do clean, stylized, game ready, asset, smooth, rounded design. So this is what I had typed into the prompt. And you don't have to do any modeling, no reference file. This was just text to 3D. So, and you can turn on texture and PBR. That's basically, we want it to come out with real materials, not just a gray blob, but we want it to have colors and things like that. Leave quality on high, and that's it. This cost 30 credits, and it took 2 minutes to put this together. But based on that prompt, I have a 3D model here, a low poly 3D rocket ship that I could use in a game. I could use it for anything that you would normally use a 3D model for. 562,000 vertices and a million different faces. So, I mean, this would be very hard to model from hand. So another example of how AI can really speed processes along. So once you have this model, you can go ahead and download it. So GLB or FBX for game engines, or STL if you want to do it for 3D printing, which I might do another video on 3D printing a model I make from here. I think that would be pretty cool. USDZ for AR or a Blender file if you want that. So you can actually take what you get here and use it in your real world situation. So they also have image to 3D. So I took just a random image of some headphones and I said, hey, turn this into a 3D model. So they also have image to 3D. So they have an image generator. So what I did is I generated an image of headphones. I could have just gone on Google and found one, but it's easier to type in exactly what you're looking for. But it generated this image here. But this is obviously a 2D image. Then on the model page, you can take that image and turn it into a 3D model. So here's the final result of that. It was again about 30 credits and took about 2 or 3 minutes or so. But it took that image that it generated and it turned it into a 3D model. So again, 557,000 vertices and over a million faces. But this is going to be very nice. My son and I are actually building a Roblox game, and we've been needing 3D models, and it's just really hard to find exactly what you're looking for. So we're going to be using Neural 4D to help with that as well. So maybe that's another video. I could do a whole series of videos on this. I think this is pretty cool. So if you build video games or websites or apps or whatever, if you ever have a need for a 3D asset and you don't want to learn modeling, you're not very artistic, this gets you from a sentence to an exportable model in just a few minutes. In fact, even if you are creative and you're a great 3D modeler, this will save you a lot of time. You know, a good artist could have probably drawn this 3D model of headphones. Would have taken forever. And here, it took just a couple minutes with AI. So everything I've shown you so far has been one and done. You type a prompt, you get a model, and it's not quite right. You have to start over. But this part is different. This is Neural 4D 2.0, and it's basically a conversation. So I describe what I want, then I can keep talking to it until we get it just right. So again, you can start from text or you can drop in an image and work from that. So I just had it create the low poly 3D rocket ship, clean, stylized, game ready asset, smooth, rounded design. And this is what it came up with. So if we want to make changes to this, we don't have to start over. I'm telling it what to change and it keeps the rest. So let's tell it add a window on each side of the rocket ship. So you can see it made that change. It put the windows all around. And again, I started with the model that I already had. So Neural 4D 2.0 you can kind of have a conversation until you get the model exactly how you want it. And honestly, this is probably the feature that I would use the most. Getting close on the first try is pretty easy, but getting it exactly right is the hard part. And that's where you go back and forth with AI until you got what you needed. One more thing worth knowing, there is a make button in here. So if you generate something and you want it as a real physical product, but you don't have a 3D printer, they will print it for you and ship it to you. So right now the service is built around the figure style models, so it's not going to print this rocket. But if you're making characters, it's there. So if you want to try this for yourself, link is down in the description, and we have a code, 7GHPMK. I'll put it in the description. When you sign up, you get 500 free credits on top of the free tier. So you can actually make a few things before you decide whether this is something you want to pay for. So go sign up, use this free promo code, try it out. Let me know what you're creating. Maybe send some links of, hey, what you create. I think my community can create some pretty cool stuff here. And this is Neural 4D. So if you've ever been stuck on a project because you needed a 3D asset and you're not an artist, go mess around with it. Make something, and again, tell me in the comments what you made. So thank you guys so much for watching. God bless you all, and have a great rest of your day.